Retro Filmmaven here. So it's 1988, 30 years ago. At the time, the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street series has pretty much established themselves as like perennial box office draws. Friday the 13th has reached its seventh film. Nightmare on Elm Street just dropped the Dream Master, which at the time was the most successful film in the franchise. Yet, after all this time, the granddaddy of them all, Halloween, has pretty much remained dormant. The last Halloween film to hit theaters was Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which is 1982, but that film has nothing to do with the Michael Myers character or the canon, as multiple films would establish. And that film was the last Halloween film came out in 1981 with a Halloween 2. Now, the franchise lay dormant, and if you've seen Halloween 1 and 2, especially when you see them back to back, it's basically just one cohesive story all taking place in one night or one day. And it had a pretty finite conclusion, especially in terms of the fate of Michael Myers and his doctor, Dr. Sam Loomis, originally played by Donald Pleasance. And it was rather interesting that it was decided that they're going to do another Halloween, but this time with Michael Myers. So I guess the producers were kind of like tired of seeing these other franchises getting established and bringing in bank, while their cash cow has been laying dormant, not doing anything. So 1988, we saw the arrival of Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers. Now, the biggest problem with this film is you have to have a ginormous suspension of disbelief to buy into the whole conceit of this film. Now, spoilers. At the end of Halloween 2, Michael Myers is shot in the face twice, what would appear to be shots to the eyes, and yet he still survived. And then minutes later, him and Sam Loomis are engulfed in a massive explosion at a hospital. And that, needless to say, that the size of that explosion and the inferno, you would say, okay, yeah, Sam Loomis is pretty much dead. There's no way he could survive that. Michael Myers, on the other hand, well, you think, yeah, there's no way he could survive, but he ends up walking out of the inferno in a great shot from the end of Halloween 2, where he walks out of the inferno, freaking out Laurie, as played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and then he stumbles and finally falls and is basically just roasting. So, pretty much the end, right? Well, herein lies the problem with Halloween 4 is, one, yeah, it's 10 years later, but you have to buy into the fact that, okay, yeah, he pretty much looks like he suffered first-degree burns, or whatever the severity level, third degree, first degree, but it looked bad. And he basically has survived in I'm guessing, a burn clinic. And apparently those shots to the eyes never happened. So, yeah. So 10 years later, the story picks up with apparently Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, has died, and she had a daughter named Jamie. Now Jamie is being raised by a foster family, and when Myers learns that he has a niece, he heads back to Haddonfield to find her and kill her. And once again, in hot pursuit is the miraculously living Sam Loomis, once again played brilliantly by Donald Pleasance. So you would think I'm like ragging on the film, but in terms of what this could have been, Dwight Little, the director, and screenwriter Alan B. McElroy actually made a legitimate attempt at making a very good slasher film. The film stays within the genre and doesn't try to be like go beyond anything more than just being a slasher movie. It's featuring the return of one of the most iconic slashers in movie history. For that, it's fairly effective, featuring some great scenes and some really good acting from young Daniel Harris, who plays Jamie. Again, a great Donald Pleasance as returning as Sam Loomis. And the other nitpicks is that the mask that Myers wears this time looks nothing like the mask from the original. And it's kind of amusing that after what Haddonfield's gone through, they would actually still allow stores to sell this mask. So I mind a little quibble. But the fact that they actually made an attempt to make a legitimate sequel, you kind of forgive the little details like such as like there's no way in hell that these guys would have survived the inferno, or let alone that Myers would survive 2 gunshots to the face, pretty much unscathed. And yeah, so it was like and again, spoilers. Well, not so much spoilers. The film has a very ballsy ending that I thought was the best part of the film, and I remember back in '88, I was totally jazzed on the fact that they ended it that way, and I was so eagerly anticipating what they were going to do next. But unfortunately, as is the case, they were in such a rush to production to get the Halloween 5 going that different writers were brought on board, different ideas of where the story should go, and pretty much the franchise, not for the first time, maybe not even the second or third time, but royally jumped the shark and kind of ruined the groundwork that 4 laid out. And 5, Revenge of Michael Myers, and 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, just convoluted everything and really, really, really brought the franchise down. So, but that's another story. So, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Back in 1988, I gave it 4 stars out of 5 because I was expecting the worst and really enjoyed it and liked it a lot. And having just recently watched it in the theater for the first time in 30 years with a sold out audience, I still liked it, but not to the level that I did back then, because now, after 30 years, you see so many different horror films and slasher films and whatnot that you really start like the whole issue of him coming back. It just starts to, like, you can't get away from it. And Halloween 4 has the distinction of being the first film in the franchise to retcon the entire canon, not for the first time, but 3 times if you count for Zombies remakes. And it really, 4 out of all the retcons actually did a really good job of setting things up. But once it gets past 4, it kind of like just turns into a total mess. So for to convolute things, Halloween 4 does pick up after Halloween 1 and 2. So but then Halloween H2O, which featured the return of Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, pretty much erases Halloween's 4, 5, and 6, which basically says they never happened. And now it's 2018, 40 years later removed from the original, we get a new Halloween film coming out this Halloween, which basically retcons everything and says the only film that's been made so far is the original 78 Halloween, and this new Halloween picks up 48 years later after the original. So 2 through 8 never happened, and neither did the remakes. So I guess you could say Halloween 3 happened because that basically said Halloween was just a movie. So Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, I would give, as I said, a 3.5 stars out of 5. So, have you seen Halloween 4? What did you think of Halloween 4 and The Return of Michael Myers? What's your favorite Halloween film? What is your least favorite Halloween film? Please comment below and let me know. And if you like this retro review, please hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do, so you can stay on top of my new reviews, trailer reactions, and any other fun things I have to post on my channel. And be sure to hit that bell button so you can be notified when I do so. Until next time, my friends, we'll see you at the movies.